This lesson's going to be all about movement, how people and ideas move around. But first, let's have a quick review. So far, we've learned that the 5 themes of geography are really just ways of thinking about geography. When we think about location, we ask, where is it? What is its absolute location and its relative location, and how do you describe that? When we talk about place, you think about, what's it like? What is the experience of being in that place? How does it make you feel? What descriptive terms can you use to describe that place? And now we're going to start thinking about people moving from place to place. If you want to put that in the form of a question, you can ask, why do people move? Let's start with a question for you. Have you ever moved? Has your family ever changed homes? Have you moved from one city to another, one state to another, or even one country to another? If you haven't, I would bet that you at least know someone who has. I bet you have a family member that's moved. You have a friend that's moved. You know someone who's had that experience. It might have been a family member, it might have been a friend. But I bet you know someone that's moved from one place to another. So before we get started, let's have you think this through. Let's take a break. I'll have you pause the video. I'm going to have you write down as many reasons that you can think of that people move from place to place. All right, welcome back. How'd you do? I bet you did great. People move around the earth for many reasons. One of those reasons is just for travel. In the modern world, we have the luxury of just being able to go from place to place to experience different parts of the world. It's awesome. You should try it. Sometimes people move from one country to another looking for a better job or a better way of life. We call this immigration. Sometimes people move in order to escape violence, war, or oppression. We call these people refugees. Yeah, so people move for a lot of different reasons. I can tell you from my experience, when I was a kid, I moved 16 times by the time I was 16 years old because my dad was moving from place to place looking for better work. Anyway, enough about me. Let's watch a video. But as you watch the video, I want you to think about what they're talking about and take notes. Specifically, write down questions you might have, ideas that come to mind, but more importantly, I want you to think about what is the intention of this story? What are they saying about movement? And what conclusions can we draw from watching the video?
When was the last time you moved? Did you become a refugee, an immigrant, or a word on a Tea Party protest sign? Maybe not, but get this. At least 232 million people around the world, that's over 3% of the global population, are living in countries they weren't born in or aren't citizens of. The United Nations calls them international migrants. Every year, millions migrate legally and not so legally, voluntarily and not so voluntarily. Why? Here are the 3 major reasons the world is moving in unprecedented numbers. It's a sad fact, but war and persecution aren't going anywhere anytime soon. And that means there's always going to be people trying to escape it. Not everyone fleeing war is legally considered a refugee, but many are. The biggest refugee communities right now come from Afghanistan, Somalia, and most recently, Syria. Pakistan, Kenya, and Lebanon have all taken in the biggest numbers of these refugees, despite serious challenges. In Lebanon, nearly 1 in 5 people is now a Syrian refugee. Lebanon's infrastructure and economy have been pushed to the breaking point. All this while developed countries in the world have only taken in 14% of the world's refugees. Does that sound fair to you? But the world's wealthiest countries are taking in people looking for better economic opportunities or just a better life. More than 2/3 of the world's migrants live in high-income countries, and more migrants end up in the United States than in any other country in the world. 11.7 million people born in Mexico now live in the U.S. One reason? Higher wages. Compensation in the U.S. for a single manufacturing job is 6 times higher than it is in Mexico. And it's not just the West attracting folks. One big migration trend has people from South Asia moving to the oil-rich Gulf. In the United Arab Emirates, Indians, Bangladeshis, and Pakistanis make up 90% of the private workforce, despite poor working conditions, unfair treatment, and low wages. The last major force driving people out of their homes? The environment. Most natural disasters like floods, hurricanes, and earthquakes cause internal displacement within a country. But sometimes nature actually pushes people to cross borders. A drought in the Horn of Africa led more than 83,000 Somalis to flee to Kenya in the first half of 2011 alone. Natural disasters aside, the changing climate is also a factor. In Tuvalu, a tiny island nation in the Pacific, rising sea levels are forcing people to move to nearby countries like New Zealand. So from man-made to nature-made, those are the 3 big reasons why global migration is here to stay. And considering the UN calls movement a human right, should borders be a bit more flexible? Let us know.
All right, well, that seems like a good place to wrap it up. I hope you were paying attention to that video because you'll need the information and some of the things that were presented in that video for your exit ticket today. Here's what you need to walk away with today. There are a lot of reasons why people move from place to place. And when people move from place to place, they bring with them their ideas and their culture. So remember, people and ideas get around. Hey, I'll see you next time. Thanks for your attention. And again, don't forget to do that exit ticket. I'm available for questions either during class or at the email address on your screen.